Now the other action, as I mentioned, was swaying action. Swaying action is an inclination of the body to one side or the other side. Now, when I sway, again, I want the action to be going through the whole body. So it's not a separation of my body and only using that in the shoulders without any effect in the hips. In fact, I use my shoulders and the rib cage is changing, but then it's got an effect on the hips too. So we can talk what initiates the action or the primary action, which I believe, because of the flexibility and activity in the upper body, can be found more here than in the hip area. And then it will go down and make an effect on the hips. And as well as the rotational actions in the body, swaying actions will provide a counterbalance. So the order will be as such. So we would shift our weight or swing our weight across the floor. On the first step, usually having CBM, that will enhance or encourage us to make a turn if we have a turn in the figure. And then on the second part of the figure, we will have a swaying action which will help to balance this figure. So, and usually it's so important when we're closing the feet together, the swaying action helps us to be better balanced and also to produce more beautiful closing action in the feet. As well as, of course, it's important to know how the feet are working, but the body actions are so important to make it more beautiful. So if I show on my own the box step that we worked on, the feet placement and using the feet for the closing action, but I will add a quarter of the turn between first and second step, we will get this. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now, going to the body action. So on the first step, you will notice there is a rotational movement which initiates the turn between first and second step. I'm doing a quarter of a turn here. And then as I put the second step in the position, the sway comes in. So that counterbalances my movement. And I can feel that helps me to make closing action more beautiful and obviously to be more balanced as I'm doing it. So once again, and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, CBM, sway, CBM, and sway. And obviously, we can do that together in a couple. One, two, three, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It is important that the head is in harmony with the rest of the body. As I'm swaying, my head goes with a sway. So there are no breaks. In our style of dancing, ballroom dancing, we have beautiful lines, and they are what we call symmetrical. So if the shoulder is moving that way, the head is following that sway in harmony. The rotation of the head is important too. In some cases, we can allow our head to turn towards the side that is moving downwards. It goes with a sway and can have some rotation. In some cases, we can keep it to the left, especially when the sway is not as great. The greater the sway, the more I feel it requires the head to counterbalance by turning towards the side that is moving down. So have a look at my head position in relationship to the sway. And 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So you can see there's a harmony. I don't have breaks in my spine, or my spine doesn't look broken. I will have one long extended line, and the head falls in harmony with the sway. And of course, the counterbalancing actions, or the purpose of those actions, is to counterbalance, so rotational as well as swaying.
Is the lady my job to see that my head is always in harmony with my body? So for example, on a box step, which we just discussed, we don't feel that amount of sway is so great that I should turn my head. So I choose to keep my head closed. And 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now, on other sets of exercise, we will show you. Arunas will lead me into all different shapes, and I'll have to follow it. Now, it all depends on how much sway Arunas will produce. That will determine the position of my head.
So we hope it is clearer now why and how we're doing rotational and swaying actions. It is very important that we are aware of the inside and outside of the turn. The one who is moving backwards is going to the inside of the turn. The one who is moving forwards will be moving on the outside of the turn. It is important to be aware of it because it helps us to stay together, or if we're not aware of it, we will lose harmony of the couple and our centrals will be turning away. To illustrate this importance, we can take the box step slightly apart. And the one who is going to the center of the tail, or moving inside of the center of the turn, has to monitor the rotation or the turn, or the one who is moving on the outside of the turn. So what happens? The one who is in the inside of the turn is actually rotating slightly slower than the one who is moving on the outside. If we would turn the same speed and the one who is moving to the center of the turn is not sensitive, it's getting difficult for the one who is moving on the outside to get around. Similar way, if I was in the inside of the turn, moving back, and was not sensitive, you see, the structure of the couple is lost. So we could try to hold it physically, but obviously we'd be losing a lot of quality in the dancing. So the one who is going to the inside of the rotation is monitoring the turn or the one who is moving on the outside. And we can see that the one who is in the inside of the turn is turning slightly slower because we're going to the center of the turn and the speed is not as great as on the outside of the circle. And we have to be aware of it. So both the lady and the man, we have to be aware when we're going to the inside of the turn and monitor the rotation and the turn of the one who is moving on the outside so that we maintain good center towards each other without turning away. If we take that box step once again, so when I move forward, I'm moving on the outside. The lady is inside. Now I'm going to the inside of the turn. The lady is moving on the outside. And I'm going the outside, the inside. On the other hand, the one who is moving on the outside should not be turning in the center of the couple, especially on the first step. So again, if I show slightly apart, if I go to the center of the turn here, I will make myself problems to get around. I have to be aware of the outside circle. So I have a rotation, there is a CBM, but my head weight, I'm aware of it, is moving on the outside circle of the couple. On the outside circle. Now I'm going to the center. The head of the lady will be moving on the outside circle. Now I'm moving on the outside circle. Now going to the inside, the lady moving on the outside. Now, there is also importance of how the feet are placed. I'd like Katyusha to explain the importance and how they are placed in this step.
For the person who is inside of the turn, it's very important that we adjust some foot position. Most of the time in walls, our feet have to be parallel. We're trying to keep them parallel. But in this case, we're going to have a foot position which called actually a pointing alignment. So I'm going to take a step back, and then when I am inside of the turn, I'm going to point my right foot to the side before I have closed my position. And same Arunas is going to do when he's going backwards. 1, 2, 3. So we'll just demonstrate that together. And 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I point my foot right now, and Arunas is going to have pointing alignment.
That pointing alignment is helping us to monitor the rotation on the turn or the one who is moving on the outside. So in other words, my body is not pointing immediately where my foot is pointing. My body is underturned at the moment when the foot is placed in the position, and that helps to control and be more sensitive to the one who is moving on the outside. So ladies and gentlemen, be aware of outside and inside of the turns. And the one who is in the inside of the turn or moving through the inside of the turn should be sensitive and monitor the one who is going on the outside of the turn.